affect much. Basically, if you are suspended on a PD character, a lot of shots going on out there, you could now continue to use cop prio to play that cop character while off duty. Chris Clouder, Permud. Beta, thank you for the 16th month resub. Hopefully you're doing good. I was planning on hopping in guys Discord after this, by the way, but hopefully everything's good with you and the wife. And the reason was I don't think this would have this doesn't affect much, but a lot of things we hear is people really push back hard on suspensions because it's like the death of the character, like it's purely a cop character. Maybe their prio is low or non-existent. You know, that's what they're saying. And so a 24-hour like OOC cop ban suspension means they can't get on the server. So this just makes it so that isn't really like an argument they could use anymore, especially, you know, like finishing out their current play session, right? Like, let's say I'm a once a week Andy. I get on and I do like a solid 8 hours a play session every week, right, on NoPixel. I get suspended halfway through you know, the play session, at the 4-hour mark. Now, instead of having to like F8 quit, wait in the queue, wait to get back in, etc., then I can now just continue to play that character off stream, not off stream, sorry, off duty, sorry, with the, even though I logged in on cop prio, and not have to worry about that. I mean, I never really suffered guilt to begin with. Like, I on one hand, I understand the argument of, hey, I don't have prio, I can't get on the server otherwise, blah, blah, blah. Like, I understand that, but then if I'm taking into an account, like, an OOC reasoning when I'm punishing you, shouldn't you be taking like that OOC consideration in when you're doing the thing that got you suspended in the first place, right? Like, it goes both ways, man. And I think the reality is the things that actually get you 24 hours suspended or 3 days suspended are kind of few and far between. Like, there's a few circumstances here and there, but chances are someone is not going to get suspended based off of a fuck up. Like, if you make a mistake, you might get punished for it, and maybe in some extreme circumstances, they might get like a short suspension, but usually those aren't 24 hours. Also, kind of as I've said in the past, I think what Command Plus should be doing, that I'm going to certainly start emphasizing, is more in city suspension. So, you know, it's 4 a.m., 4:25 a.m. in roleplay right now. Like, hey, man, you know, so-and-so, you've really fucked up, you know, come back at noon, right? And then that's 7.5 in city hours, which is only like 50 minutes roughly, you know, give or take. I think that's fine. It allows cops to RP more because the character can make mistakes. If that's like a concern, yeah, it allows you to make more mistakes, right? So that's like the first housekeeping thing. The only way this would be considered like quote unquote bad is if the number of PD slots is getting filled with those who do off-duty RP or those who are suspended and doing off-duty RP. And the reality is we're not suspending that many people at a single time, right? Like, on most, like, maybe max you'll get 3 people suspended, but that is like once in a blue moon. The reality is, on average, there's less than 1 person suspended at a time, right? So that's not really a concern as far as like the PD slot system is, you know what I'm saying? I have not talked about it yet, XB. I wanted to get this out of the way first because it was just a very minor announcement. The next thing we're going to talk about is, well, okay, so a lot of people are bringing up HUT charges, so I'll make that the next topic of conversation. So there's a few HUT changes and kind of judge changes that went through that to streamline things a little bit that I think are good and bad, or it depends on the circumstances, right? So first off, let's start with like a good change that was made to help streamline the process. For whatever reason, and this may have been just how like no pixel judges were doing it because they didn't really know, or that's how they were told to do it. If you were someone who was doing a bail hearing, that conflicted you out of the main trial. So that's not, we've been informed by the more knowledgeable people that that is not something that happens in the real world, apparently. I guess I believe them, right? So now if you do a bail hearing, you are not going to be conflicted out of the bench trial. And that should really make it easy during these time slots when there's only one judge around, right? Like, let's say it's late in A, which is typically like Crane's territory. Then he can safely take a bail hearing and schedule a case on the back end, and that should really help with like getting these trials scheduled in a timely manner. It'll help out the shift 3 judges a lot. That's true. Now, in the same token, this is kind of what this is kind of like the main change that was announced in regards to HUTs. Like, there was some times when like people weren't really put let me just scratch that, like new train of thought, so I could collect my thoughts for a minute. Under the old system, so let's go over the old system real quick. What would happen is you would put someone in jail for a HUT charge, so you would nines them, and then their lawyer, then charges would have to go up on the docket, and then their lawyer could request a bail hearing. Hang on, I got a Discord ping real quick. Make sure this is fine. Okay, so now under this new system, bail is going to be much easier, I guess, to get granted, just in the form of a hearing being scheduled, right? In the past, some judges might not take a bail hearing because they didn't want them to conflict it out. Well, now they don't have to worry about that, right? I do the same thing when it comes to my investigations, right? Unless it is an extreme, like, story-driven confliction, or, you know, your other characters involved in it, right? I don't really think conflicts should be a thing in no pixel law. And what I mean by that is, like, the world we live in, while it is getting bigger, it's still quite small, right? As a cop, you know, especially if you're past, right, you're related to everyone, you know what I'm saying? You know, as a judge, or as a judge, you might have your finger in a lot of, like, pies, right? Yeah, so if we had a pool of, I'm just going to throw out a hypothetical number here, 100 judges, then that's fine, right? Then you could easily, like, conflict one judge, get another. But when the reality is we only have 9 judges on paper, some of which probably aren't as active as the others, then conflicting one judge out of it is a huge bottleneck, especially if that's only like one of 2 judges, let's say, in a particular time frame that kind of fits everyone's needs. I don't know how many judges are active / inactive, or just kind of like chilling. Like, that's not within my prerogative to know, but yeah, just something to keep in mind. What's this have to do with HUTs? Well, it's just general. Wait, what's this have to do with HUTs? Well, one of the reasons why HUT charges were a bit of a pressure point is because people were getting sent to jail, and then no one was doing bail hearings on them, because you did a bail hearing, that would conflict you out of the main case,